Welcome back to the Morning Brew with Larry Aarons. I'm Erin, your co-host, and it's time to check with your local IQ. And we have Siobhan on today. How's it going, Siobhan?
Good. How are you guys this morning?
I'm doing good. Having a good week so far?
Yes, it's going by fast, and I'm looking forward to having the sunshine out all the time so I could go swimming.
Ditto on that.
So before I introduce my guest, Adabel, I wanted to mention, if you haven't been downtown to Richard Levy Gallery, you have to check out this cool exhibition called Color Matter. It's with Chinese artist Xuan Chen and local favorite Charles Fresquez, and it's an optical abstraction painting feature. And Chen uses computer-generated 3D images and painting to kind of portray this visual illusions and human binocular vision. So she kind of dissects images and portrays how the left eye and the right eye sees it. So it's a really cool optical illusion.
A left brain, right brain thing, huh?
Yeah, so
look at those. Yeah.
We have an image actually.
Yeah.
This one is Charles Fresquez, which will be in the project room of the gallery. And what he does is he uses, strategically uses acrylic, enamel, and light to give these optical illusions. So, you know, this is just on the monitor, but to have the full experience, you have to check out the gallery, you know. Might go a little cross-eyed, but optical illusions are fascinating.
Kind of a 3D thing going on.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Where's that gallery, Siobhan?
It's at 514 Central, right by 516 Arts.
Oh, okay. I was just going to ask.
It's right there downtown, and the exhibition opened on April 5th, but it runs throughout May 31st, and the gallery reception will be on May 11th, but you can check it out anytime in the meantime, Tuesdays through Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. So, oops, excuse me. So it's, you know, really cool down there at the Richard Levy Gallery.
Very good.
And now I'll introduce Adabel Allen, and for this issue of the Local IQ on Stands Now, I had the opportunity of interviewing her for her opening of Transitations, A Time to Explore, which will open this Friday, April 19th from 5 to 8 p.m. at Newgrounds Print Workshop and Gallery. And last week I kind of talked about it, and I was telling these guys how I got to check out the behind-the-scenes process of printmaking, and which is something I didn't really understand before, and got to hear directly from you your intention behind your artwork, and it was just as complex and intricate as the artwork itself. So, you know, maybe you could talk to us about how you started as a printmaking artist and how it led all the way to the opening of Transitations.
Well, my history is that I spent 25 years as a graphic designer and computer production artist and illustrator, and so I was in the commercial world of printmaking, and then I went back to school and went into fine arts and started painting and drawing and doing sculpture and some other things, and then went into printmaking and realized that I was really a printmaker since I had been doing it commercially for all those years, and as a fine artist really found out that printmaking was really my medium, because I had found the convergence of what I had been doing commercially for all those years, how I could really make it happen as a fine art form and take my skills and experience and bring it into the fine art world.
Let's give everybody an idea of what you do and show some images here.
Okay.
And this first one, can you describe it to us?
What are we looking at? Ah,
there we are.
Okay, that's a monotype, and the way that the monotype process works is that I take a piece of plexiglass and I layer ink, I put ink on top of the plexiglass, and then I transfer the plexiglass onto a piece of paper, and that particular one has about 18 layers on it. So I put ink on the plexiglass, put it on a piece of paper, run it through a press, put more ink on the plexiglass, run it through a press again, put more ink, run it through again. And so I'm building up the painting, as it were. That's a painterly type of printmaking process, over 18 layers.
Wow. It's quite the process. How long does it take to make that?
It really varies. I mean, it's that particular image, I mean, from start to process, it's maybe a day's work once I've decided what the composition is and what I'm going to be doing. But it's, you know, it just depends on, you know, exactly, just like a painting, you know, you're kind of when is that finishing touch going to exactly happen, but you know.
We're showing another image on the screen now, Adabel. And
I like this one because you were using photography. You're
it's
saying.
a sepia, am I right?
Yeah.
Is that sepia? And
Well, this is a photogravure, and this is actually kind of a complicated process. I'm going to be doing a printmaking demonstration on Friday night at 6:30, and I'll actually demonstrate, not this one, I'll show a multiple plate with more colors, but this one, this is a process where it's a stainless steel plate that has a chemical emulsion that's sensitive to UV light only. And you take a positive transparency and expose the plate, and then once the plate's developed, then I hand ink the plate and again transfer it onto paper using a press. But I'm using digital collage in that particular process. So I'm taking 3 different photographs from 3 different time periods in that series, and that one's, you know, that's called the Flux series, and that's, I'm kind of playing with the notions of time and memory in that series.
Where do you find your inspiration for these pieces of art?
Birds in nature have been my inspiration for well over a decade, and they just, to me, speak of resilience and transcendence and hope. I think all of us have some degree of difficulty that we all go through, no matter what it is in life, and birds always seem to have this ability to be able to adapt and be able to go through multiple realms, you know, whether it's, you know, being able to go from earth and air and water and just be able to immediately take off and get to the next level. And they always seem to, you know, be able to do things that we can't do. And so birds in nature have always been that inspiration and hope for me. So
what strikes me about what you do, Adabel, is that instead of being an artist that picks up a brush, you pick up a printing plate and create something in an entirely different way that nobody expects.
Yeah. Well, I love printmaking because it's an indirect process, and so it's a really challenging medium because it takes actually several steps before you can get to the finished product. And so it's not like a painting where you're just applying paint and you're seeing right before you what's happening. It's something that you have to imagine many, many steps ahead, and sometimes weeks ahead, what it might look like. And so to me that's much more challenging, and to me that's kind of a metaphor for life, you know, that you have to kind of predict as well as hope and kind of converge your vision with your attempts and your pursuits to be able to make it come to be and to manifest it. So when it actually gets there, or if there's surprises along the way, you have to embrace them.
I was going to ask you about the surprises, because you're anticipating the way it's going to look. Sometimes it comes out better than you imagined.
Yeah, well, sometimes it does.
And sometimes it doesn't. But that, like you say, it's a metaphor for life.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's one of the reasons why I love it, because I think that it's really important to be able to embrace anything that comes before you, whether it's a challenge or whether it's a difficulty or whether it's exactly what you hope for. I mean, I've encountered a lot of difficulties and traumas in my life, and that's why I use birds as my metaphor, because they are that symbol of resilience and the ability to adapt and to just kind of keep transcending no matter what it is that you encounter.
Wow. So can you tell us again where the event is?
The opening is this Friday night at New Grounds, 3812 Central. It's a couple blocks east of Carlisle, and it's from 5 to 8. And again, I'll be doing a demonstration to actually pull a print for people at 6:30. And it's up for 6 weeks. There'll be another opening on the 3rd of May during the Arts Crawl. And it'll be there, and my work is always at the gallery as well. So
And they're available for sale if someone wants to purchase?
as well as reproductions in note cards and other things. Yeah.
Awesome.
This is fascinating. I had no idea how you do this, and to hear you describe the process and what goes into it and how you anticipate, and that's fantastic. It's art in a different way than I would have imagined.
Yeah,
so,
it's really a fun process. It's really magical.
Siobhan, thanks for bringing her along.
Yeah, of course. If you want to hear more, you know, I wrote an article called Flux of the Phoenix in the local IQ, so it has more details about, you know, what Adabel just talked about, but it's also a good article. So
You got the arts thing down, Siobhan. This is great.
it's a pleasure, you know,
Yeah.
collaboration with writing and art. So it's really cool to check out behind the scenes and get into the creative energy here. So
All right, well, here's Local IQ magazine, and it's the new edition. Siobhan's arts article is in there. Adabel, great to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you for coming and
Thank
sharing
you.
your talent.